Hi, this is Professor Stugard, and in this video we're going to learn how to create our own user-defined functions in Python. Alright, so I have my Jupyter notebook opened up. I'm going to just open a new Python notebook. So the way we can create our own functions is with the define instruction. So if I want to define what my function is, I use def and then the name of my function. So let's create a function that finds the average of two numbers. So I'm going to define my function average. I'll spell it right. And then one of the things we need to determine is how many arguments we're going to pass into that particular function. So in this case, I want to just find the average of two numbers. So I'm going to pass in two values, x and y. Once I have that done, the next step is to use a colon to say that, okay, so I'm defining a new function called average. It's going to accept two values, x and y. I'll press enter to get down to the next line. See how it tabs in for me too, which is really nice. And so once I have those two values, I am going to say that, let's see, z, we'll store it intermediately. Z equals x plus y divided by 2, right? That's how we find the average of two numbers. And then what I want to do next is then print out the result here. So I'm going to print that the average of, and again, leave my spaces there, plus. Now remember, x and y and z are all going to be stored as numbers, either integers or floats. So I need to turn them into strings to put them in my print statement. So I can do that in the middle of my print statement, which is nice. So string x. So the average of, okay, whatever that value x is, but stored as a string so that we can use the print function, quotes, and notice that, again, I'm leaving spaces in between each of my quotes so that my output looks nice. So the average of x and the string version of y, oops, plus quotes is, and again, leaving my spaces, and then the last one, string z. All right, so there we go. It looks like I have defined my function for average. I'm going to hit Shift Enter. Invalid syntax. Oh, whoops, I forgot the plus sign. Shift Enter. Good. No error messages, so it means that my function is probably properly defined here. So now I can run through average is my new function. The arguments I'm going to supply, how about 5 and 9? I hit, oops, 5 and 9. And you can hit Alt Enter and it'll also run that code. And it says the average of 5 and 9 is 7.0, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want it to be. Now again, notice that, again, because we're doing some math, it's storing the number 7 as a floating decimal, so we do get that one decimal point, which isn't really a big deal. You know, we can get rid of it if we wanted to round or somewhat. But there we go. So one of the things we might want to do too is, all right, let's get rid of that cell. And one of these things that can happen is we're running a bunch of code, or we're storing variables, we're creating functions. Things all get saved in that environment. If you want to kind of reset, we can do the kernel, and we can reset and clear all output, reset and run all. And again, that's basically going to clear my environment for me. Here, I'm going to restart and run all cells. All right, so I still have my average function defined, but now if I do average, if I only type in, say, one number, let's keep doing, I get an error. It's missing a positional argument. I only gave it one number, but it's expecting 2. What I can do to help prevent these issues from showing up is that in the beginning, when I create my function, I'm just going to define values for each x and y. So maybe x equals 0, y equals 0, right? That seems pretty straightforward. So that I'm going to now Shift Enter, rerun my code. And now if I run average, the average of 1 and 0 is 0.5 because we have that default value stored in, and it lets my function still run even though I didn't define all of it. And again, the nice part about this one, I printed out exactly what I was doing. So I said, find the average of 1. It said, well, the average of 1 and 0, because it's actually making sure it explicitly states what it is we are doing. So creating your own functions, again, a really nice way to create some reproducible code, something that you can copy and paste and use in different programs or in different settings, depending upon what you are doing. All right. But that wraps up all I want to talk about with creating your own functions. So again, play around with it, practice, make your own functions, and have fun and good luck.